driven towards excellence, inspiring conversations. My name is Mr. Weissberg, Principal of Intech Academy, MSHS 368. We are a New York City public school serving grades 6 through 12 in the Kingsbridge, Marble Hill, Riverdale neighborhood of the Bronx. Let's get started. Today I'm here with two of our high school students, Maria Rosario in grade 10 and Brianna Garcia in grade 10. Welcome. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, guys. Hello.
So thank you for joining us for this conversation today. We'll start with some basic questions, get to know each other a little bit, and then we'll have a little dialogue. So I just kind of like to start with, what's your music genre right now? What's on your playlist?
Okay. I listen to like everything, and that's like, I don't know. I feel like that's something that a lot of people say, but my playlist literally has everything. It has like pop, it has R&B, it has a little bit of rock, which
What's your go-to though? What's your number one? Like you feeling
probably
in a mood, what are you putting on?
probably some R&B, honestly. Yeah.
I would say like some alternative pop or something like that. That's my go-to.
Who's the alternative group right now?
I don't know if this counts, but Tame Impala.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Or
right.
Charlie XCX.
Okay. That's alternative? That's what's considered alternative?
So,
I think
yeah.
so.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
not sure.
What are her songs? Charlie XCX.
Like 365, something like that.
Okay. All right. Anything we're watching? What's on our streaming platforms right now?
I'm for some reason I started watching Gossip Girl, which
Okay.
isn't like the best show to watch as a high school student, but it's really interesting. So, yeah, that's what I've been watching. That I started, I think, last week.
Oh, if I'm being honest, I've been watching a lot of people like playing games like Among Us and stuff, like influences that like play games while I do homework.
Hmm.
So you're watching YouTube of people playing video games.
Exactly.
Yeah, my son does that. I don't understand it. I'm getting too
My
old.
sister does.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's like fun. Like you get to do something fun and do homework.
Okay. It's like you don't have to think about it.
Yeah, a little bit of both.
Yeah.
So now I know when my son plays video games, like I could hear him from down the block, hitting things and screaming. So is that what these YouTubers are doing also?
Kinda.
Oh my gosh, that
yeah.
doesn't bother you?
No, it's kind of like having like a loud space while you do something kind of that you have to concentrate on. I don't know, like there's like a balance.
So you could use it as a moment to like freak out if you're like stressed about something too.
Yeah, it's like just to laugh while you're doing homework.
Okay. All right. What are your passions outside of school?
For me, one of my biggest passions is most definitely volleyball. Volleyball is quite literally my entire life. Like,
Volleyball is life.
volleyball literally is life.
Love it.
I love volleyball.
Yeah, I have to agree. I love volleyball. I would say sports in general and cooking.
Oh, okay. What do you cook?
I bake and cook. I like to make pasta, breakfast things.
So do you make pasta from scratch? Like you make your own dough?
No, but I
Yeah?
do have to learn how to do that.
Okay.
That seems fun.
Yeah. My wife tried a few times. It's not easy,
It doesn't look
but it's
easy.
delicious. Pasta that cooks in 3 minutes, you're done.
Yes.
It's fresh. What about you? You like to cook also?
I like to eat what my mom cooks.
There we go. Now
for
we're
sure.
talking.
I'm like the taste tester. My mom, like, she loves making new things that she sees on like Instagram, and I'm just like the taste tester.
That's me.
Yeah?
That's me.
Yes.
You ever play them like, nah, that's not good, try again? Meanwhile, you eat the whole thing?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I'll eat it regardless. If
Nah,
it's
that
good or bad,
batch was
I'm
no
still
good.
eating
Try it again.
Yeah. Yes.
That's awesome.
For sure.
Any favorite classes you have right now? And you don't have to say like teachers. It could just be subjects. But like anything favorite?
For me right now, I would probably say English and my intro to business class.
Oh, nice.
I feel like not only do I like it because of like what I'm learning, but also because in those classes I'm around a lot more of my friends. So I feel like that also makes the classes more fun. And then also obviously the teachers are pretty nice and fun, so I like that too.
Yeah, I would say band or history AP. Just 'cause like history, like it's a really like free space to express the things that you're learning, and band is just as well like you can just express yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That creativity,
Yeah.
right? The thinking. What um what challenges are you facing right now in school?
I would probably say time management for sure. Like now, since we're getting closer and closer to tests, even though we're still just in February, it's a lot closer than I think. So I feel like trying to really balance out all of my classes because I have to take a lot of regents and tests this year. So I feel like that is definitely starting to become a little more challenging. But I feel like by like next month, I believe I'll be a little more calm.
You're gonna come up with a plan so you kind of manage your time a little better?
Yeah, trying a lot of new study methods, so I still haven't found the one that is has worked the best for me yet, but I feel like I'm getting there.
Yeah, just gotta keep trying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my biggest challenge at school right now would be like just procrastination. Like during school, I can't like pay attention, and it's just like a learning thing. Like I'm not the best learner at just somebody speaking and listening. I'm not the biggest fan of that. So when I get home, that's when I usually study and like catch up on what was taught in class.
Yeah, I agree.
So how do you study then at home, or how do you catch up?
I would like watch videos on the topic, especially in like chemistry and math,
Mm,
because I usually zone out. I love the topics, but it's just like I can't really learn the way that they're teaching.
yeah.
Yeah, me too. I feel like a lot of kids have different like methods that work for them when they're
Of
in a
course.
classroom. And I like agree a lot with Briani. Even though obviously the teachers are amazing and they're very great at what they do, I just feel like me personally, I'm not the best at just like listening, like if that makes sense. Like
You
I
need to be a
am
part of it.
yeah, I feel like I'm more of like the type of student that if the work involves like group like I'm a group work student. I feel like I work better in groups instead of individually.
Hmm.
And I feel like in the classes where it's more individual based, I have tend to have a little more trouble learning the material. So like I have to do a lot of more stuff at home. But for the most part, most of my classes are group work based. So I feel like yeah,
It helps.
yeah, it
Yeah.
helps a lot.
What career paths are we considering?
I mean, I think I'm set right now, but it could change in the future because in my high school career, I've chosen like 10 things and I'm just juggling careers. But right now, I want to be either a scientist or a historian or
Okay.
archaeologist,
Oh.
especially.
So I'm not 100% sure either. When people ask me this question, I always say I don't know because I literally have no idea what I want to do. But last year I interviewed she does like I think she's a marketing manager and her career like really interested me. Like I took like everything that she said sounded very interesting.
Hmm.
So I feel like maybe that's something I would like to do in college, like something business or marketing based. So
Nice.
I actually have a question for
Yeah.
you.
Oh, good. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, how did you know that you wanted to go into education and become a teacher or a principal?
Yeah, it took me a while. Took me a while. This isn't my first career. It's not my second career. So it took me a while. I went to school for a bachelor's degree in broadcasting communication, learning how to do video production, live television, producing different things for the web. The web was new at that time, so you know, web material, marketing materials, training materials, and then I got a little taste of teaching students how to do documentary film production, video production, and by working with those students because they were like middle school age, we created a video and so I got to teach them the different elements of lighting, sound, video, editing, questioning, interviewing, um, research, and then so putting that project together, I could see, you know, just the power that teaching has. And then after a little while, I decided to put myself back in school to become a teacher. and became a teacher, and eventually, was pushed by some mentors and former principals that, I should think about assistant principal and leadership classes. So went back to school, took those classes, took some leadership positions in school, and then was able to get an AP position. And then about 10 years ago, came to Intech as an AP, and the superintendent thought 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago, it was good to make me the principal of Intech. So, it's a rewarding job. You get to see and interact with so many different people: students, teachers, family members, community members, politicians, business people. And then, so how do we make all those connections work so that our students have the most opportunities to be successful, to realize what opportunities exist in the world, whether it's college, career, what their post-secondary opportunities are, or if they're struggling learners, what resources can we bring into the school to try to get students, as close to being on standard as possible so that they can graduate.
Yeah. What do you think is the best part of being a principal or the process of becoming a principal?
uh, so the process of becoming a principal, it's eye-opening because there's a lot of reading, a lot of group work, a lot of, if you have the right mentor, you can get a lot of exposure to the position before you get into the seat. It's pretty common, as much as people think that they want to be a principal, and as much as people think they know what that job is, until you actually get put in that seat, you don't know what that job is, right? You have an idea, but when you're in that seat, everything falls on you, right? So the good things, you shout out your people that made that happen. The bad things, you take the blame for and try to fix them, right? But you're alone. You're alone in that seat. You have friends, you have a network, but ultimately, that was you that either made something happen or didn't make something happen. So that's one of the hardest parts. But in terms of being and preparing for that position, just learning in community, learning about new practices, learning about new material, that's always a growth factor. I like those pieces of it. And then I think you asked kind of what do I like about it, or
Like the best
the
part
best
of
part?
just being a principal?
Yeah, so, it's so cliche, but just like you're removed from the classroom a lot at that point, right? So when I was an AP here, I still was fortunate enough to teach, and I had my own class. So I always had my connection, 44 minutes with students. I could turn my radio off, my walkie-talkie off. I didn't have to deal with whatever I was supposed to deal with when I'm not teaching. I could think about the content. I could think about connections with students. I could think about, the opportunity for what students had to learn for that course. So it was like my 44 minutes of peace every day. Um, so now, being a little far removed, I really try to make these opportunities happen, right? How do we connect with students? How do we understand what our students need to make Intech the best possible school for our community? Can I be in the classrooms a lot more to see what the instruction is, to see how students are learning, to talk to teachers, to talk to students in the cafeteria, in the hallways, figure out, what's working for us as a community and where can we strengthen, when we do our learning walks, when we go into classrooms with students, with teachers, with parents. And so those are the most rewarding. But if I have to sum it up, just the interactions, with the students directly always brings a smile. I do joke with Mr. Yondolo at times. I remember going into his classroom once with my laptop, and I was kind of just doing some work, and he said, "Oh, you're here to see the class?" I said, "No, Mr. Yondolo, I'm here for peace." And meanwhile, the band is blaring and going off, and he's looking at me. I'm like, this is peaceful to me, because when I first started here, my office was above his band room, so I always heard the music. So, and I love music, so I can't play it, but I love it. So for me, just being in the classroom with students is always a reward.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your biggest concerns right now for the future?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I think my biggest concern, like personal concerns or just general?
It could be your personal concerns for your future. It could be your personal concerns for the future of the world, our community, like just in whatever future means to you.
No, um, I think that my biggest concern right now would be Me not getting into a good university, probably.
Mm.
That's just something that seems so small and so big at the same time
Yeah,
because it doesn't really define you, but
yeah, you're
it
right.
does worry me. And another one, personally, that's just like education wise, but personally, I would say, yeah, like not making my parents proud.
Mm.
Yeah, I really agree with what she said about the making my parents proud because both of them have done so much for me to be where I am. And so I feel like if I don't like live up to, I guess, not only their expectations but also mine,
Mm.
I feel like I feel like I didn't really accomplish anything. And then also adding on to what Briani said about not getting into a good university or good college, because I have been thinking about college, which is kind of young, but I've been thinking about where I want to go since like fourth, fifth grade.
Yeah.
Going to college is like a really big thing for me. And also being able to, another big thing for me is being able to do what I love while also being in college.
Yeah.
So as I was talking about volleyball, I would really, really like to continue doing that in college, possibly even after college. And I feel like that's like one of like my biggest desires and goals right now. And I feel like so many things could go wrong. So one of my biggest like concerns right now is college and like life outside of college and school.
So I was talking in one of the former episodes of this podcast, like the sphere of control that we have as humans, right? And so you always have to break it down. What can you control in this process and thinking about college versus all the things that could go wrong that you cannot control, right? So if you try to scope it down, thinking about, well, if you figure out better study skills for yourself, if you make sure your grades are good, you're handing in assignments, you're studying for assessments, you're taking AP and challenging courses that colleges want to see, regardless of what you get as a grade, right? And you're doing those steps, you ladies are in the opportunity right now for this summer. I don't know if you've spoken to the college office for our pre-college programs that we have eligible for. So if you haven't, you should stop by and apply for some of these programs because these are pre-college programs that you study at universities and you get that experience just to make sure, you understand what that path could be, right? And so just think about what you can control on an everyday basis, and when we talk about driven towards excellence, right? Look, if we can show up 100% every day, great, right? That's what we need to give, whether that's here, at home, friends, family, whatever. But we're human. So we could wake up and feel 70% that day because maybe we're sick, or maybe we lost a loved one, or maybe we're just tired, right? But if we still know, okay, I'm at 70, I'm going to still give 70, right? That's 100% for that day. So again, just day by day, what can you contribute to yourself to be successful? And I'm sure if you do that, your parents are always going to be proud of you, and the right college is going to open up for you because there's a lot of choices. So definitely keep your minds open to what schools and programs you're applying for, and thinking about also, we out of our college office and post-secondary office know which schools, based on your GPA or SAT scores or your interests, whether it's in sports like volleyball or this marketing or science, right, or social studies and history, what program maybe gives the most money so that we can keep that money back in your pocket,
Yeah.
and also, right, what scholarships are available, and just so we have a lot of help here, but on a daily basis, just making sure that if you show up and do your piece, you're going to make your parents proud, and the right college is going to open up for you.
Okay,
Oh, I was gonna say, what are some of your biggest concerns right now?
My biggest concerns, as in respects to the school as principal, or just in general?
It could be both.
Yeah. Um, look, my biggest concerns right now, I think we live in a super saturated media world right now, from social media platforms to actual news channels and news organizations. Um, and so we could get inundated with information, right? There's an information overload. And depending on how the algorithms work on whatever platform we're on, what information we're getting fed. Is it truthful? Is it making us more anxious? So if as an adult I'm concerned, for me and my kids, what does that mean for our students and you ladies and the community here? because the phones and technology are great, but sometimes it's a big distraction, right? And so do we have the right skills to know how to filter things out, also how to turn this off and have our own think time and our own human connection time without being on these digital platforms, even if we're talking to friends, right? Even if we're FaceTiming or whatever platform you use to connect with your friends from your room to their room, right? Which is something I didn't grow up with, right? I had to call on a rotary phone and, dial these numbers and there's no way we were staying on the phone all night. I know, I see with my son, it's like he wakes up and the phone's still on. I'm like, well, who are you talking to? What are you doing? So, but even that, as sweet as those things are, sometimes you still need that time to turn that brain off and be. So some of those kind of things concern me. And then just, for our community, just always making sure that as a school, as a community, we're making the right decisions to bring in the right programs, that we have the right staff here, that we're using our money and resources the most effective, that we're making connections with the politicians and the business world so that if we need support, we have it, and just making sure that we have the best opportunities for you guys to take advantage of. So just a few more questions on my end, and then I know you have some other questions for me. So when you think about social media, right, how do you feel about the impact it has on your life?
Okay. I would say, like you were saying earlier, social media kind of like scares me sometimes because of like the information like it shows me, or like the stuff, the content. Like I see some very scary things on a daily basis. Like this morning I saw something about the time clock of like humanity or something, and that we're all gonna die. And I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Can we talk about the economic state of the world right now?
That you think that's less scary than the than the clock of humanity? Right? Those are both deep things, right? The economic state of the world, is not it depending on what economic platform or social status we're in is scary too.
Yeah.
I feel like social media, it has its perks for sure, but obviously things can go wrong very, very easily on social media. Like one person could say something as a joke and it spreads so quickly, and all of a sudden, like something so small turns to something so, so big.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. I feel like also social media, this is kind of like hypocritical because I'm on my phone like 24/7, but it really is distracting. Like I feel like no matter like what age you are, if you have social media or like a device, everyone can agree that it's definitely very, very distracting.
Yeah.
Like when I'm doing my homework, sometimes I literally have to like put my phone under my bed so that I won't be tempted to grab it and text Briani or anyone.
That's real.
Like
Yeah.
it's very, very hard to control myself with social media. So I feel like it definitely has more bad things than good things to it, in my opinion. Like a lot of people, like that's where they get their like news from, I guess. But also, the spread of misinformation is so big. Misinformation spreads so quickly, and I just feel like I don't know. Social media, I feel like it's getting worse by the day, in my opinion. I don't know about everybody else, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I think.
So as we finish up our podcast here, just want to ask you any words of wisdom or inspiration that you have for our underclassmen or potential students thinking about coming to Intech Academy.
Well, this is one of my favorite quotes. I don't really know who said this, but I live by it. It's that if nothing changes, nothing changes, right? So if you're ever like upset about a situation or you don't think anything is right and you're like, damn, I wish this could change. Well, if you don't do anything about it, it's not going to change. So if if nothing changes, then nothing changes. If you don't like change, I guess, let's say the source of the problem, you're not going to change the result of it.
Yeah, or even how you engage with it, right?
Exactly,
Because
yeah.
sometimes you're giving too much energy to a situation or a person, and it doesn't deserve that much.
Exactly, yeah.
I talked about in the first podcast, hungry mouths don't get fed, right? So
Mhm.
if you don't speak up, if you don't talk, right? No one's a mind reader, right? No one can tell what's going on. Our faces and body posture and language could say one thing, but it may not have anything to do with the situation. So, it just depends, right? But you have to speak up. You have to advocate for yourself, or sometimes not to be confrontational, but to confront the situation,
Yeah.
right? Like, hey, this has been happening between us. I don't know if it has anything to do with me. Should we talk, or does this have nothing to do with me? And sometimes it could be like, oh no, it has nothing to do with you. Well, I'm feeling a certain way because this is how you've been treating me. So just want to clear that up. I haven't been treating you a certain way or saying things. Don't talk to me or treat me like that if we're friends, right? So sometimes, yeah, you have to change the situation.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. How about you? What do you think?
I feel like if I can give advice to like upcoming high schoolers, middle schoolers, it's just don't spread yourself too thin. I feel like I involve myself in a lot of things, but sometimes it's better to prioritize the most important thing, school, because you're here to learn and you're here to like um just express yourself, find things that you like for the future. If you don't have good academics, then things in life won't come so easily for you. And I feel like in the school, a thing that I like is that we get rewarded for like our
Yeah.
academics. And that really motivates me to be a good student. So I would say just prioritize your academics first and then find out things you like and go from there.
Yeah, so how do you do that in a school like ours? Because we offer a lot, right? So even if you're saying focus on this academics, we still offer a lot of academic pieces and social pieces or sports. So how do you, even just thinking about this building, not even your own personal life of other activities, how do you help prioritize in this building what's important?
I first think about what's most important at the time. If I have an assignment that's due, I know that I need to do that. But I just, I want to do it all. I'm very ambitious and I just feel like I can't do it all. Unfortunately, I pick the things that I know that is going to stick with me towards the future, things that I might consider doing and like exploring more. So even though someone like me can be very ambitious, you just have to prioritize the things that you really see yourself doing in the future. And that's fine if you do one club 1 year and then decide that you don't think it's going to be for you in the future.
Yeah.
It's just about finding things that are for you in the long term.
Sometimes it's just about time management too, right? You can still
Yeah.
do a lot of things, but you got to be tight on your time, right?
Yeah.
Less
Yeah.
scrolling, less things that keep us busy and not on track.
Yeah.
Mm.
I also agree with Briani. I also feel like if you're a new incoming student, especially if you're coming into high school, I did this last year. I feel like especially your freshman year is definitely like guess the best time to test the waters with everything that you can do, especially because like high schoolers, I guess we have like I wouldn't say like more opportunities, I guess, but I think we have like more freedom in a
Hmm.
way with the clubs and stuff that we have here. So I feel like your freshman year is definitely the time where you should test out different clubs, different sports and activities and stuff. And then after you've experienced how everything is, I feel like from there you can like I guess decide like, oh, is this really what I want to do for the next 3 years, or is this going to help me with what I want to do in the future after high school. So I feel like for sure you should most definitely focus on things that would help you, but to do that you need to test everything so you can see what really would help you.
Yeah, get exposure, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being on our podcast. Appreciate you. And thanks for listening to Driven Towards Excellence.
Bye.
Peace.